What is up, bros? Josh here. In today's video, we are celebrating the T-61 finally coming to World of Warships. It's finally here. The ship has been much awaited, been teased for so long. I've had it in my port for a long time. We've tested it for a long time, and it's just been, when's the T-61 gonna come out? When's it coming out? When's it gonna be finalized? And it is now done, and it's coming to World of Warships. So I'm very, very excited because this thing is amazing and a blast to play. And I think if you're a destroyer player, this is basically a must buy. This thing is just amazing. If you've ever played the high tier German destroyers, the way I explain this is I tend to find the middle tier, which is part of the tier 6 on the normal line, like the tier 5, the tier 6, the tier 7, the tier 8 on the German line, pretty boring. They have this different kind of play style with these bigger shells that they hit hard but reload slow, and they tend to be more of a torpedo. This is that perfect hybrid destroyer that you will find in the high tiers of the 9 and 10 of the line with the Z46 and the Z52, and they are so much to play. You have so many tools, and let's just dive into it. And as you can tell, I'm very excited about this ship because it's finally coming to World of Warships, which means I won't have this little toy to have for myself. Now everyone gets to use it, so I guess there's good and bads to it. But the ship itself, and this is the captain we'll be using. So 19-point captain, priority target, last stand, survivability expert, concealment. Then we're picking up superintendent because we want that extra hydro. I really like torpedo armament, so whenever we look at the values with health and torpedoes, we're going to be thinking about with these values. I think these are great, especially for German. And then we have adrenaline rush, and I picked up preventative maintenance as well. So this is the build I will be running with, and these are the modules I'll be running with as well. Main armament mod 1, we have the special module for the hydroacoustic, aiming systems, as well as steering gears. And then of course the premium version of all the consumables. So T-61 rocking 16,800 life, which is extremely competitive at this tier. Comparing it to like the Monahan that just came out at 16,000, you're just a tad over that. So very, very competitive. Looking at something like the Gallant as well, you have about 2k more than that. And then you have monsters like the Agla with 19,000. You're not quite there. And even looking at the Anshan, you're right around the spot of the Anshan. So 16,800, very competitive with a survivability expert. Main battery, a 4x1. This is very, very common at this tier. It's what a lot of them are running. It's what the Mahan runs. The Farragut, depending on which hull you're running with, runs this as well. With a 4-second reload, relatively low fire chance, but it has also German AP, which hits extremely, extremely hard. You will absolutely shred cruisers. You'll actually shred destroyers if you really want to. That's one thing that adds a bit of a learning curve to this ship, is when to fire HE and AP. The HE isn't bad, but the AP is extremely good if something's giving you a broadside. Kind of a high skill level on these destroyers, but still extremely fun. And a range of 11.6. You don't need AFT, it's not needed. 11.6 is plenty, especially for these tiers, because you'll tend to play the smaller fun maps. Torpedo tubes, one of the highlights of the German line is having fast torpedoes with a low detection. Fast torpedoes, I mean in fast reloading. They're not the fastest thing in the world at 65 knots. They're not slow, they're not sim speed. But 65 knots is pretty solid, 8-kilometer range, so very, very competitive at this tier. And a reload of just over 60 seconds at 61.2 with a 1.3-kilometer detection. So not only the one thing that I love about German destroyers is that once you're heading to a cap, tend to be such a fast reload that you can put spots on where the enemy DD is going to be, and you can actually get a lot of preemptive torp hits on DDs because they aren't quite prepared, because who would have torps up that quick? So this is what Germans are extremely good at for their destroyers, is having that fast reload time on their torpedoes. 13,700 on the damage, but again, just a hair over 1 minute. Again, that's with the torpedo reload, captain skill for those torpedoes. Very, very good. AA, it's there. You'll knock out a plane here or there. Nothing too crazy. 35 knot speed, which is pretty all right. And you are relatively maneuverable. Comparing it to the Monahan, which is one of my favorite ships, you're a tad slower than that. Something like the Shinonome is going to be faster. So you'll still be okay. You will have to prepare for it though, and you have like stuff like the hydro and everything like that. I mean, you can even comparing it to that. So you are going to be on kind of the lower end. I didn't seem to be getting hunted down, because the best part about this when you're playing the T-61 is you have that torp reload, and being one of just a couple of ships or destroyers at this tier that has sonar, you can launch torpedoes if something is hunting you down, and it's going to be very hard for them to continue the chase with the risk of taking torpedoes. And one thing that really set this apart a long time ago was how low its detection is, and it's still extremely good to this day. So 6.1 kilometer detection, one of the lowest at this tiers, in my opinion, and one of the best ships. You're only going to be out detected by like the Hatsuharu. The Nevi, you're right on board with the same 6.1. The Gallant will barely out detect you at 6.0, but you'll just absolutely shred him, so that's not a problem. Then you have stuff like the Anshan and stuff like that that's just a tad over. So you are very, very competitive. You're even more competitive than both of the IGN DDs. The Shinonome at 6.1. I believe the Fubuki is at 6.3. So you'll actually out detect the Fubuki. So extremely good, low detection, good guns, good torps. It's really hard for me to find a downside about this ship. It's so much fun. It's such a great hybrid, and I call it just like the perfect mid-tier destroyer hunter. It does have German smoke, so it doesn't last that long. But you do, it only lasts about a minute, so you can kind of get in and get out with it. 4 charges with, is that with Superintendent? Let me just double check. Yeah, it is with Superintendent. Yep, Superintendent and the premium. So normally it would be 2, but now we get 4. And then the Hydro, if we can get back to that really fast, the Hydro is pretty solid as well. Detects your ship at just under 4 kilometers, and then detection on torpedoes just over 2.8. So that's really, really nice, and allows you to be pretty aggressive in the ship if you want to. Also defensive if you want to just kind of keep your team alive with spotting torps and just defending against other ships. But you can use that German playstyle of getting up into a smoked area and then slowly inching your way forward and then spotting the ship in smoke, absolutely destroying them with your AP, and then you win and you laugh and you say LOL balanced T-61. So let's dive over to some gameplay and just kind of watch this thing do its job and just be amazing. I love this ship. I'm so excited it's finally here. Let's dive over some gameplay and we'll dive into what we're thinking and the abilities that this thing can do and make plays happen. So here we are in game with the T-61, and we did sadly get bottom tiered, but honestly with this ship and how low its detection is, that tends to be the problem with being bottom tiered, is detection. I think destroyers up tier pretty well. Tier 6 though tends to be a bit of a problem because if you're going against tier 8 destroyers, they tend to have just such a big gap in out detecting you. This, not so much. Even if I'm going against a Benson, it's going to be a 0.3 kilometers, which is definitely a gap, but it's not terrible. So I think even the T-61 up tiers pretty well in the +2, +2, -2 matchmaking, and I really just think this thing will, even at bottom tier, just do really well. And you'll actually kind of get the view of, and as you can watch the minimap right now, we had a support cruiser, a battleship, and basically everybody goes to the west side. As you see me, I honestly don't care. I think this ship is so good. We're looking at their DDs, so we're going to be out detected by the Gallant. And that's pretty much it. Obviously, the Nevi is going to be right there, the Gnevny. And but what we're going to do is, this was what I was talking about with the early launch on the Torps, is since our reload is so fast, we can get a lot of DDs that are on their way in. So I try to throw Torps on that point, kind of almost preemptive Torps, and really kind of just work that. And then as you get something that's kind of pushing into the same area as I would, you'll get those torps and then hopefully smack even a torp hit or something like that, give you that advantage if needed. This game could have gone a lot differently if you'll end up seeing it a little bit later. But this could have gone pretty poorly pretty quickly for me because I'm over here by myself. There's a DD that's kind of pushing mid to my way a little bit, but he's getting shots and torps towards the guys on the west side. Everything on my side basically left, but I'm like, it's okay. I have quick torps. I'll just slow this side down. If I can take 1, 2, 3, 4 ships out of the game just focused on me and pinned down because of me, then it'll be pretty good. And I'll be worth my weight in gold, and then my team can just kind of win that side, and then they'll slowly push around, which kind of ends up happening. No lucky torps on that, but we're just going to try to keep our side spotted and hopefully just snag some torps. The Boise's a bit of a problem because this thing hits just so hard. The Boise can shred me in like 4 or 5 salvos if it gets lucky. And I'm looking for which DDs there are. Of course, always looking at the minimap. And I see 1 destroyer there, 2 destroyers here. And so that means potentially 2 destroyers is 4 in this game. And trying to not overextend. If I overextend, that's just going to be bad. And I'll be within range of a Leander, be within range of the Boise. And here, I'm using it more as a, let's say if I had more support here, I would definitely use it as kind of an offensive. I'd push up and try to spot something. Now I'm trying to use it as a defensive and just hold. I'm just trying to hold this side. I pretty much have this Boise potentially a destroyer. I have this New Mexico. I have this Leander. They're all basically sitting here, can't do anything. So I'm basically winning a 1v4 because I'm not taking damage and they aren't doing damage. So this is always a really good trade, especially when you ever see anybody that's going into, let's say, a bunch of people are chasing one ship into a corner. That one ship making those people chase them into a corner is worth his weight in gold, because he's taking that many ships out of the game. Even if they get the kill, they're going to be so out of position. So these guys really aren't doing anything. So this is pretty worth for me. We even got a torp hit on the Boise, and which is really good because he's probably our biggest threat. So I was getting a little aggressive here, and there pops the first DD. And unluckily for us, it was the Gallant. The Gallant is going to be the one DD that outspots us. And honestly, with that second salvo, when it went up, I thought I was going to hit him with the torp because he kind of makes this move towards the right. I thought he would maybe pull hard right, launch some torps on me, and then I'd be okay. Obviously, I see some torps here as well, so that means that there's 2 DDs. We're going to go quick count, and that means the Fubuki's going to be there. So this is a bit of an exciting situation. Unluckily for us, this would have been a fantastic time, a perfect time to be a offensive destroyer here, because we see him with that. We could have just killed him, basically just sitting in smoke, but we used it as a defensive tool instead. A bit of a missed opportunity there. We could have killed that DD and then just farmed for a while. But the right play for this guy to do is to just push me. Just push me. He's going to be faster than me just by a little bit. His detection's lower than me, and he has support. I don't. As you can see, I am the only one on the east side of line 6. I am it. Every one of my other teammates are on the other side. Luckily, he starts to peel away. Remember, my detection is 6.1, and he starts to roll, but man, this boys is going to start smacking me. It's all right, though. We needed some adrenaline rush. And already our torps are up, which is amazing when it comes to this ship. And we do have, I think the Scharnhorst was kind of chilling with us. But we're trying to go dark here, and now we can kind of reset. And they have so many ships over here for me. I mean, look at our team. It's a ton of ships here. One DD pushed this way, so he went all hyper aggro for some reason. And then I'm just holding down this side. Again, there's one battleship that's been chilling here. He's it. That's all the support I have. I was hoping to get a little lucky here on a torp. We're going a bit wide to avoid his torps because we don't have sonar up. But again, the job that I have is I'm stealthy. I can be aggressive. I know I can outgun the Gallant. And then we know there's another DD somewhere. So we'll try to just keep those and hopefully get something spotted. That maybe this battleship, especially this Boise, because this Boise would be the problem. And we're already starting to lose it. So this is where my life started to become hell. The Boise was right. He was getting aggressive. And we're going to quick little zoom in, trying to figure out where this Fubuki is going to be. And only this ship right here could have done this. Could have done what this torp. It's the only ship that could have gotten the torps up that quick. You got maybe besides like a Fubuki or something like that at this tier, or a Shinonome. It's very few that are going to have that fast a reload to be that effective. But this Boise will just make my life hell for a bit because we're going to be in the right spot. But luckily, we got our torps. I was going to risk taking the shot right here. The downside about taking that shot is I would have been detected for a bit longer, and we got a second hit on him, and down he goes. So pretty worth. The Gallant's misplay here was he should have pushed me at the start and just spotted me for the Boise. That's what he should have done. He should have kept pushing that smoke, honestly. And so now we've lost 3 DDs on our side. But what we can do is we can just start to, and there's the spots on the torps. What we can do is basically start working on this whole team. They've lost their DD advantage on this side. We have a ton of battleships. As you can see, like, we have a monster health pool over here with no ships. So, and we're starting to get some support on this side, especially if that Boise dies, we basically win this side, right? He's the only thing that's really going to hit me that hard. The Gallant, even though he has a health advantage, I'll just still be, even with 8,200 life. And battleships are, you know, I'll just chew up battleships with this torpedo load. With staggering, staggering floods, staggering torps, even smoking up if I need to, it'll just be easy. As long as that Boise dies, then I'll basically be fine. I'm trying to call out to our team to get focus on that and just launch some torps on this Bismarck. This thing is going to be so good because of just how fast the torps are. Already, only 45 seconds when we get it going. Even though I missed the set, you'll even see it later, the strength. of this torpedo when I'll miss at like 3 kilometers a battleship, but before he even gets it going, I'll already have my next salvo ready. And he doesn't even end up getting any damage on him. Just watch this Alabama and watch how many life he has currently compared to what he'll have at the end of the game. But working these, again, this is the reason why you don't need AFT. I feel like the gun, the effective range of 11.6 is basically like the sweet spot when it comes to warships, especially at this tier. 11.6 is fine. You know, rolling AFT, I mean, yeah, sure, you can probably hit something at, what would that end up being? Just under 14k or whatever. You could probably make use of that, sure. I just don't feel like it's worth that 4 points. If you really wanted to play like an aggro kind of setup, you could honestly roll like a radio location captain or something like that and just be this perfect, because it's the perfect destroyer hunter at this tier. And what I mean by that is you have good guns, you have a low detection, you have good torps, you have sonar, which makes it extremely strong. You have this tool that basically no other DDs have besides the other German one. I'm trying to think off the top of my head if there's another Hydro one at tier 6. I don't think there is. So you have this offensive / defensive tool that's actually really good for the range of 4 kilometers, where you can just see T-61 balanced, where you can just take advantage of positioning. You can protect yourself and really just, I mean, you really don't lose too many fights against other destroyers. Either 1, you're going to outgun them, 2, you're going to out-detect them, so you get the advantage every time. There's only a couple ships at this tier that are going to ever get the first salvo on you because of how low your detection is. So overall, it's just extremely good. This King George and everything, and we basically have kind of locked up this game already, since they can't really, yeah, as I was saying, the Gallant could have pushed me. So I wasn't sure what this Bismarck was going to do. Obviously, this is going to be kind of a bummer because I'm going to miss that. But we're going to hopefully watch out. I would have launched torps there, but I didn't want a friendly torp. And we're going to throw some torps in on that King George. I'm going to try to get away. 6.1. Actually, I believe it's 6.13, so be careful on that. You will get spotted before it gets to... I think it will technically show 6.2 still in certain situations before you're detected, before it switches over. But we're just going to gun it out. We have the ability to right now. Some smoke. And this is why I embarrass, whatever the right word is, embarrass myself and miss some really short-range torps in this Alabama because they're already ready to come up. And the King George basically plays this very slow at the end, very passive. Again, this smoke isn't super long. It's not USN smoke, so we don't get to see it for too long. But I'm just trying to get a fire on these guys. If I do that, then we're good. And the Alabama, I think I popped sonar, snag him with sonar. I think I do. Let's see if we grab him here. Double fire though on that guy. Okay, somebody else spotted him. So this is a bit embarrassing. Missing the torps. We'll miss torps at 4.5 on that guy. All right, leave me alone. If we had chance, we could have easily worked. I'm trying to think force of fire on him. But if we want to just rock the AP, you can, and you will just absolutely shred. Again, you really can just start wrecking, especially destroyers, cruisers, battleship, just on the superstructure. If you're hitting that upper armor belt or superstructure with that AP, you'll rip for 2-3k a salvo until the saturation is a certain level because it's so good. It's just the German destroyers I find at the mid tiers, as I said earlier, already we're at 71k, a couple fires burning, and we miss those torps, but we pop out of smoke and we already have the next set in 10 seconds. So, and for some reason this guy just gives up. I'm surprised he's not trying to kill me. 7k, it's not going to happen every time unless he just said screw it and maybe something was broadside. But torps will go in, and he ends up turning a bit faster than his guns. I think he could have easily smacked me here. And down he will go. So that's going to be 8 torps into the side of an Alabama. Oh, 7. Sorry about that. And a nice little dev strike. So, I don't know. I don't know how... I don't want to sound like I'm just super... guys, making a review video. It's exactly what we're doing. Usually it takes us a couple games to get you know, the kind of right game I'm trying to show it off. This was a one take, we'll do it live kind of thing. The first game of the stream, we did this live, and first game of the stream where we basically just went in and just smashed and showed off the strength. We held off an entire side. Half of the map was only us on one side with like, what, 5 ships? and it was absolutely amazing. So the rest of this game is pretty boring. This King George kind of just hangs out. We end up killing the other ships, and the King George runs to the 10 line. So not really too much else to see, but overall 124,000 damage, 2 kills, a smash, a devastating strike on that battleship. I mean, this ship is kind of everything I love. I love the high tier German destroyers. I love anti-DDs, especially right now. Everybody really doesn't like that there's so much radar right now. I feel like right now is a fantastic time to be playing destroyers. I feel like a really good destroyer is worth its weight in gold. So if you know how to play around the radars and stuff like that. But this is like everything that a high tier German DD is good at in a low tier package, or I guess mid tier package. So it's all the fun things of the high tier German DDs, which I love: fast firing guns, low detection, good torps, sonar, you know, just all these great things. And then you get to play them on the more fun maps, these smaller maps with smaller alleys. There's less 20-kilometer shots everywhere, so it's all the good things rolled into the good maps. And even being bottom tier, you're gonna still do really well because this thing's super competitive. So as you can tell, I really enjoy this ship. I think you guys will too. You can definitely check it out, and there's some deal going on right now for a massive amount of doubloons in game. If you want to pick it up, you can get it early. But if you are thinking about picking up a destroyer, especially a destroyer player like myself, this is going to be a fantastic pick. It adds you know, for what the ship is, it's actually a pretty unique play style at this tier. You won't get it really anywhere else. But anyways, guys, that's going to be my review on the now finalized T-61. It's finally here, and we get to finally talk about it and play it and enjoy it. So anyways, guys, that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.